this concept popular in India, Sattology. I'm your ambassador. See, this
Namaskar
is
and welcome to this show, exciting show, Sattology, Debunking Mythology. And we have a very, very special guest, and you loved him in the past, and he's a very prominent personality in
thank
India in the education sector. So without delay, let us welcome Sri ADN Vajpai.
thank you, Aditya.
And so you have such a pleasing personality, Professor Vajpai. It seems that your popularity is high because of your academic laurels as well as your personal relationships, and that's a great example for students to follow. And coming back to the your favorite topic, you're an economist in a way because you are a professor on economics. In Mahabharat, we have, I'm my new book is coming out on Yudhishthir. So
Yeah.
he's considered the one of the best economists by Narad Muni.
Hmm.
And other than him, the best economists in Mahabharat were Sahadev, his youngest brother, a very good economist, and the son of Subal, Shakuni and Gandhari, children of Subal. They were also considered very trained economists, two opposites end of the spectrums. And is economics information knowledge necessary to be a king in this world?
Actually, I think, Aditya, I was thinking that you will see pose some question related to spirituality, some comparison between Ramayana and Mahabharata. You directly you see, selected a question related to economics, but very good question. See, actually, economics which we are you see, studying today is not that economics which you are talking about in the days of Mahabharata. They call it Artha. Artha is not economics. Arth is that 25% of total Purushartha Chatushtaya hissa. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Ultimate objective is to liberate, you see, oneself, that the salvation, that is moksha. But Artha is an important ingredient of our, say, a life as such. And to become a king, uh, Earth means economics is an essential part to know about. That is how to get revenue from the public, how to generate revenue, how to spend it, how to allocate according to priorities, what type of welfare activities is to be undertaken, what type of law and order situation is to be done, what facilities are to be provided, how to protect the boundaries, how to fight war, how to feed people, how to conserve nature. All Panchabhutas means land, air, water, fire, and sky. The protection of all Panchabhutas were also the concern of this earth, which we can call economics of today. So, if a king takes care of this holistic view of economics, even today, he will not have any problem. But if he's just confining only to the generation of revenue and expenditure and depending upon his own, you see, cabinet, may not be that expert. As you know that Yudhishthir may be good economist, but he's not a good king. He doesn't know how to rule. He depends upon so many persons, even then. But in Mahabharata, you'll find that so many instruments how to collect revenue. They have what you see, system of taxation also. Is how you see honey collects the essence from different flowers and gets it you see, collected in one part, that in beehive, for the purpose of being used in a big manner, distribution big manner, for local kalyan, for public welfare. Similar types of so many things are there. The Mahabharata Shanti Parva, no, Shanti Parva is full of this entire social sciences. We can call it as social values, including economics, including political science, public administration, your constitutional studies. Everything is there in Shanti Parva. Yes, Aditya.
So we have a very good audience today, uh, and some of them are
Thank
doing
you.
analysis on Mahabharat as a
Mm.
basis for the world's ancient history.
Yeah,
And we have many people here. We already read the names before. So my question to you in that regard, in the regard of Mahabharata, is Mahabharata is, Vyasdev says that all the Vedic literatures on one side, Puran, Ved, and Mahabharata on the other side. Still, Mahabharata is considered heavier by Vyasdev himself. Now, that is the importance of that book, which Americans know it. There is a more research done on Mahabharata in America, and with the less lip tardish people, the really serious people, they're doing more research on Mahabharata from really gaining value out of it than compared to India, where Indians are doing more. I call it superficial research in a way because making a toy is a great thing for small term economic benefit, but there is no long term, you know, long term benefit out of it. But here, people are using Mahabharata to create technologies of the future.
oh,
Like, for example, sound to from sound to speech conversion, the
mm,
accuracy in that is far lacking. Text to speech is already there in a big way, but sound to text conversion is not there. And from sound invoking, it can be many military uses also, it can be many civilian uses also for the
yeah, yeah,
technology.
yeah,
And IBM research, and many places they have been using Sanskrit as a language and using examples of weapons being invoked by the
yeah,
sound. Now these are just the scientific usage of the same thing is seen in Ramayana also. So
mm,
it is a religious text as well in one way, because it shows the character of very good people, and also gives guidelines to humanity how to live their life, or who is the ultimate spiritual goal, absolute truth. But at the same time, while doing that, in the process humanity advances also from these literatures. So
certainly, certainly, yeah.
what is the role, what do you think is the role, how important are these literatures for the society at large?
Actually, Aditya, India is rich enough so far as its literary academic heritage is concerned. We are having, see, Vedas, we are having Upavedas, we are having Puranas, we are having Upanishads, we are having Sankhya, so many things are there. But these two epics, na, Ramayana and Mahabharata, they are, you see, enveloped in the group of history. They're the history epics. And history means the events, the persons which and who have actually existed on earth. That is the basic essential of history. It's not fiction, as your Sattology itself say that it's not myth, it's a reality. You see, Ramayana is quite earlier. There is a difference of, you see, a chronological difference about 4-5 thousand years between the two. Mahabharata is a recent one. It's of 5,155 years you see, ago. And Ramayana is about, you see, 9,000 you see, 335 years ago. But 4,000 years difference is there. So because Mahabharata being recent is all inclusive. It includes, you see, all the characteristics of a Ramayana period and afterwards. So it's more sophisticated, it's more recent, it's more applicable, it's more attractive. It happens to be of today. Ramayana also, and both have got, you see, global visibility. Ramayana as well as the Mahabharata. You see, in Indonesia, in Bali, Sumatra, Thailand, everywhere you'll find in Mauritius, you'll find not only, you see, Ramayana being, you see, studied, but being behaved in all, you see, dramas, theater, in acting, like that. We are having Ram Leelas as well as Krishna Leelas, both are, you see, existing. So your question is that uh, they are certainly religious, spiritual in nature, because the spirituality is connects intertemporal connectivity, inter you see, religious connectivity, inter region connectivity, inter language connectivity comes only through spirituality. That's one part. That's why they appear to be as they belong to us in today contemporary, you see, life, and they are able to solve the problems of say, today's society. There are two basic, you see, differences. You see, this Mahabharat is the biggest, you see, epic on the earth. You see, it has got about 1,10,000 shlokas divided into 18 parts. That is, they call it Parva or Adhyaya. So everything which exists on earth is available in Mahabharat. And whatever is not in Mahabharat doesn't exist anywhere. Even then, the Hindu philosophy accepts all other things also. If you permit me to compare this Mahabharat, this particular thing with Quran Sharif, Quran Sharif also says that whatever is in Quran Sharif, that exists everything, all inclusive. And if it is not there, it is not available every in other parts. So other things doesn't deserve to exist, and that's why the library of Nalanda was burned. It was asked that to see whether it has got Quran Sharif or no. So there is no use of having this library. But Mahabharata, even having all, you see, inclusive, all pervading knowledge, it accepts other things also. Latest things also are available. You see, and Mahabharat uh, has become very much important for its Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is an integral part of the essence of, we can call it Mahabharata. And Srimad Bhagavad Gita has been used by all person, whether there is a freedom fighters or there is social worker or is a scientist or anywhere in the world, whether they are capitalist or is it they are communist or is it they are middle person, everyone has used. So to make, you see, Mahabharata alive today, the role of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is also very much important. And you know that long back, when you see Indians by way of slavery, they are being sent to these diaspora countries. Uh, Maybe you see Norway, maybe Ethiopia, maybe Mauritius, maybe Fiji, maybe Suriname, maybe Guyana, maybe Trinidad, Tobago. They were carrying only two things, that Ramcharit Manas and Mahabharat, handwritten. People used to write this handwritten. They carried and they were studying, and they could, you see, make alive of Sanatan Dharma on this account. But there is a lot of difference so far as you see on surface concerned. The personalities of Ram and Krishna are also, you see, quite different. But commitment towards the value system is the same. Ram is totally disciplined. And Krishna is also totally disciplined in altogether different manner. Krishna attracts. Krishna means akarshana. Krishna means one person who attracts is Krishna. Krishna attracts. Krishna is Shakespearean tragic hero. Krishna, you see, one feels to love Krishna, but not Ram. Ram is not that much engaging. Ram is not that much involving. Ram has got all his reservations. But Krishna, you see, leaves all, you see, reservation as such, goes deeper down as it. But so far as commitment to public welfare, to welfare is concerned, or commitment towards detachment is concerned, commitment towards love is concerned, commitment towards societal development concerned, commitment towards, you see, protecting the boundaries is concerned, both are the same as it. You see, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in 10th Adhyay, chapter 10, 30th shloka, when Krishna is revealing, manifesting his all vibhutis, all his uniqueness of his personalities, he says, I am air so far as purifying elements is concerned. Pavana Pavatasmi. Pavana Pavitasmi. All the elements which purify, I am air. And Rama Shastra Bhatavatam. The persons who holds arms, I am Rama. So Ram is the best, you see, armor in the world. As Lord Krishna himself he confesses. He is also having Sudarshan Chakra and many things. But he thinks that Ram is superior to him so far as a uh, armor is concerned. Similarly, in Yoga Vasishta, when Vasishta is giving so many things, so many instructions to Rama, Ram appreciates to see Krishna. When he will take another birth in the name of Krishna, then what will he do? So you see, when there is evil for both, where his relative, he won't mind, you see, killing him. When it's if gender is evil, whether it is Tadaka or it is Putana, both will kill him. There is no gender bias, there is no religion bias, there is no friendship bias, nothing like that. Evil is evil, and evil is to be, see, punished. And when he say that paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthayo sangbhavam yuge yuge. That is what, you see, Lord Krishna, you see, proclaims in Srimad Gita. And Rama says also, jab jab hoye dharm ke hani, बाढ़ें असुर अधम अज्ञानी तब तब लय में मनुष्य शरीरा धरो सदा संतन के पीरा. Both are, you see, same thing. But one thing I would like to tell you, see, both have got so many, you see, things related to society. We don't have a concept of Krishna Raj. Though it is latest, Mahabharata is latest, Krishna is also latest so far as chronology is concerned. But we are having the concept of Ram Raj. Because Ram Raj is more disciplined. Ram Raj is more, you see, comprehensive, more inclusive, more, you see, shelter oriented, more established, more, you see, connotations are there. Krishna Raj we are not having, isn't it? So there is lot of this, but both are one. One must not confuse so far as, you see, their discrimination is concerned. Yes, Aditya.
Beautiful answer, and beautifully compared also, expertly compared the two epics. Markandeya Rishi tells Ramayana in Mahabharata to
Yeah.
Yudhishthir Maharaj, and to just to get a darshan or view of Markandeya Rishi, for viewers who do not know, is rare or rarest of the rare phenomena, because he can travel at will, and to just get his physical physical like view of his physical appearance is rarest of the rare. And in that there are 4 or 5 chapters dedicated to Ramayana in Mahabharata also. And you put it very well. The 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 the, the confusion which people have generally about Ramayana and Mahabharata, I'm talking about mostly from the Indian American point of view, and also people from Hindus from India. Generally,
Okay.
Hindus from Fiji, Hindus from Barbados, Hindus from other countries have no such confusion. They know only one person, that is Bhagwan Ram,
Yeah.
and they know Gita as their Bible. In America, they call them Bible or any other. For them, Gita is
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Now, but the confusion is in mostly in the minds of Hindus coming from India. Some of them don't even know that Bhagavad Gita is different, is a sandwich. There is a lot of things in Mahabharata, but in the essence, like you said, is right in the middle in a sandwich between two bread loaves. So many beautiful histories are presented in Mahabharata, and in the middle, the spiritual instruction by Krishna directly is given over there, which is very rare. uh, in other Upanishad and Vedanga and other places, difficult to find the absolute truth speaking about himself, and the Gita is all about himself. Now, this knowledge is being appreciated, like, and also you said it has been quoted and researched by many independent scholars. You took the name of the book of Abrahamic faiths is Quran Sharif, one of the books you said, but it has not been independently scrutinized. It has not been
No.
independently researched. The only book which is independently, without any restriction, commented on, quoted, and researched, including, I would say, Mark Twain, and very
Yeah.
famous, philosophers of America and Europe have commented on it. In fact, when Oppenheimer misquoted, saying the time I am, but he did not quote the next shloka and the before shloka also.
Mhm.
See, so this independent scrutiny is done by the topmost philosophers, scientists, and leaders of their own countries. And then they had firm faith in Gita after reading it. So, and like Einstein famously quoted, as if the
So,
different world spoke to me, the whole
mhm.
world spoke to me.
Nimitta matru bhava savisakniya. Used to quote. Mm.
So, such important literature and such widely quoted, what is the reason that somehow it is not being taught in the textbooks of all the universities, whether it's Indian or American or European? Because this book has to be part of the regular educational curriculum of most of the universities across the world. What is the why it is not happened yet?
Actually, Aditya, I think it's world over. It's a global phenomenon. It's a dharma or religion. Especially, there is a difference between dharma and religion. It is being thought that it's something related to only personal, family, something related to one's own salvation, personality development, like that. Its connect with the society is not necessary. The things begin from this particular Srimad Bhagavad Gita. One can read, one can you see Maga, one can cram, you see all you see 18 you see adhyas of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. When it comes to connect Srimad Bhagavad Gita with society, there are some person like you see Mahatma Gandhi or Tilak or Vinoba or you see Rajneesh or anybody, even Einstein, you told the Gorbachev also has read his Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So they for personal you see achievements there is, if it has got certain social value addition, and it should descend to next generations, it should be properly researched. And the best part of so far as administration is concerned or management is concerned or you say the economic is concerned or environment is concerned, that should be culled from these books. If this academics is to be culled from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it must constitute our course curriculum. Not necessarily is everything. As here in Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, they have taken some course of Srimad Bhagavad Gita so far as management issues are concerned. It's not merely management, it's so many other things are also. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the beauty of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is yoga, which makes it you see different from you see other scriptures. Other scriptures, they do talk about you see other things. but they don't, you see, link yoga with the scriptures. Here, uh, from Vishad Yoga to Nirvana Yoga, everything is there in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And Lord Krishna himself is just expressing the views. There cannot be any doubt about, you see, the reality or substance of our Srimad Gita. So, what I mean to say that whether it's Ramayana, or you see Mahabharat or Srimad Bhagavad Gita, one caution shall have to be taken. Number one, everything cannot be imparted to everyone. We are having different, you see, layers of, you see, education also. We are having school education, we are having middle level, intermediate level education, we are having higher education. Then you see research side is also there. And the level of, you see, mind comprehension is also different. And in a bigger sense, we can say the level of souls are also entirely, see, different. Everybody does not have the same level of soul to comprehend these things. So it's a job of those persons who have got mastery over these things. They should select the topics. So for schools, the stories related to Mahabharata, Ramayana must be very, very attractive to them. Some pictures must be given to them. For intermediate level, some shlokas related to social values like Subhashit, everything, they can be. For higher studies, as I told you that, you see, management, or you told in America, the defense researches are going on, arms and ammunitions, how what type of technology, what technology was being used, what science was there, what biodiversity is there, what physics is there, what chemistry is there, what methodology is there, what is the anthropology is there. So these type of topics which are directly connecting them with today's, you see, education must be included. And for highest, you see, researches are concerned, where laboratory work is required, then sky is the limit. This you can take the idea from Ramayana or Mahabharata. As you see the case of Ram Setu, there was a time when people were saying that, you see, it's all fiction. It doesn't, see, exist on the earth. It never, you see, happened. And NASA also took so many years to take the complete picture from Rameshwaram to Sri Lanka. Now it is evident, and from that is evidence only we can say that our history is just based upon, say, reality. So many excavations are being done on this Indus Valley civilization. When methodology came true and they could go for the carbon dating of the things, then only we could come to know, yes, the Ramayana is about 10,000 BC years old, isn't it? When this NASA and its related scientists, see, the Khagol Shastri, the astrologers, they told that this Mahabharata war took place in that particular period, in which two Chandragan, two, so you see, lunar eclipses, happened in this particular month only. They could look at this, you see, this particular muhurt, that came into existence about 5,155 years ago. This is how things shall have to be, see, related for higher researches. They have got full potential, complete potential is there.
A very famous person from India, Prabhupada, when he
Yeah.
was asked in UK, he was asked in UK that why have you come here? And he replied very famously, he said, I have come to give you what you forgot in India. And they were shocked. And another one which has been very important anecdote is which you mentioned about Bhagavad Gita and other literatures, especially the knowledge of yoga, which is extremely popular in the US. More than 45 million Americans do yoga every day. It's a bigger number, and especially after
Yeah.
International Yoga Day, which was started by India, it has become hugely even more popular because it gave them a international recognition as well. So every city has a yoga festival now, 21st June.
Good, good.
Now, coming back to this question of you very beautifully put it, many people or parts, they take parts of Bhagavad Gita and they teach them and more. So, number one, the major difference which you said about religion and yoga and dharma. Uh, the essential difference is, dharma gives you a you decide for yourself what is right and wrong. You're conscientiously stronger with the concept of dharma and yoga, that you decide what is needs to be done, whereas the religion tells you what to do. So when somebody, nobody likes to be told all the time, do this, do that. Now that's a major, two very major difference sometimes in an approach, because when you talk about Americans, very freedom oriented. I mean, if you put a sanction on gun control or anything, doesn't uh, it makes them even more uh, you know encourages them to break the law, if that comes to the point. Now, coming back to the core topics of Mahabharata and Ramayana, you very beautifully have compared Ram and Krishna, and some people say these are the only two warrior kings of the planet, or only two real absolute kings of the planet. In what is in Mahabharata, that it was banned by the British, and somehow the misconception was spread that that keeping Mahabharata in the home will involve quarrels within the family, because Vyasadeva writes exactly the opposite. Vyasadeva says wherever Mahabharata is kept in the house, that house will have dhan, which means wealth, will have niti, will have policies, and will have the best character of the people within that house. So, where is this myth coming from? Not in the Mahabharata, definitely. But this myth has been propagated in India, and many Indian Americans, they tell Americans also, don't keep in the house. And the moment they tell the Americans, don't keep in the house, the first thing they go and buy and keep it in the house. So, where is this
Aditya,
myth coming from?
Aditya, you reminded me, I see, a real story of my life. As such. I was a very small kid, and my mom, you see, wanted to see know something about Mahabharata. I, you see, had good, you see, Sanskrit knowledge also. I brought, see, book from Sanskrit. So only Sanskrit I can't understand. So there was Sabal Singh Chauhan who translated Sanskrit Mahabharata into Kavya. So it is poetic is a translation. I, you see, brought that, you see. And sooner my father was block development officers in one place there in Uttar Pradesh. Sooner he came to know that Mahabharata has come into my house. He started shouting, "What have you brought, Baba? What have you brought?" To see, my mom said, "No, I want to learn Mahabharata." So, one thing, the Mahabharata should not be kept at home. So, what I was doing that, I was wrapping Mahabharata and keeping at the beneath the tree outside the house. One thing. Secondly, there was another thing. It should not be read in continuum, chapter by chapter. Another see writer was there. Chapter by chapter, you must also read it. So sometimes I was reading 10 chapters, sometimes 11, then coming to second, from 1 to 9 classes, similarly connecting. So that it's a it's a simply conspiracy against our scriptures. Because as I told you, the Mahabharata is most sophisticated you see literature. It's a history. It arouses Mahabharata arouses power in you. It arouses patriotism in you. It arouses that instinct to fight against the evil in you. So whether he may be, you see, a Britisher or maybe you see Mughals, they must have thought that suppose this Mahabharata is becoming popular amongst the people. So they may become, you see, valor, they may become, you see, warrior, and they might, you see, fight against the persons in power. So that might be, you see, one reason as such. Another the thing which I that's mentioning, uh, the religious part of this Krishna, religious part of like Sur Sagar is quite popular. Sukh Sagar is quite popular. And the part which is connecting with the society and fighting against the evils was not to see made popular by way of see, strategy. Another thing I would like to mention this Ramcharit Manas. Ramcharitmanas also written about 500 years ago in the period of Akbar only this epic came into view. It was made to be more popular. It was more easy to understand. It was written in you see Gram Migra in local dialects as well, which is Awadhi and Baswadi, and that too is quite comprehensive, and that was need of the hour to make the people disciplined, organize them, fight against the evil as such. So this Ramcharitmanas also overshadowed you see Mahabharata and its stories. So it's a complete one, but both are existing today, and both are alive in the hearts of common men in India and outside. If you find the names of people in India, either they are attached with Rama or suffixed with you see Krishna. Somewhere Rama, Krishna, both, isn't it? You see here in also in Lok Katha and folklore, you see, either stories from Rama or stories from Mahabharata. There was a lady Tijan Bai, you must have heard, internationally coveted, you see, folklore, you see, actress Tijan Bai. She has awarded Padma Bhushan also. She was taking stories either from Ramayana or Mahabharata. Most of the tribals in India, they're having the stories from Mahabharata. So this folklore also keeps the stories alive in their is a hearts. Whenever they dance, they drink, they take, they play the roles of these people because both are connecting with the common man. Rama is fighting against Ravana, not with only this Varna Vyavastha, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudras. They are taking the Vanaras, they are taking these shy people, very common people, training them and fighting against that the mightiest power on the earth on those days. And there is no issue, as I told you, that Krishna can, you see, kill his own, you see, maternal uncle, Kansa, because he is evil. His, you see, relative Shishupal also. He gives, you see, so many latitude, forgives 99 times. He keeps on abusing and he forgives 99 times. On 11th time, he just removes his Sudarshan Chakra and chops his head outside. Similarly, Ram, knowing that he is a Pakka Brahman, even then he is evil, he must be killed. He has no see, point to live on the earth. He kills him. So, as I told you, the commitment for so far as values is concerned, both are one. If you are just touching my wife and my pupil, you see, there is no point. You should not live on the earth. Ram Yudh. Similarly, if you are doing cheer haran, if you are declothing any see lady, that too in a public forum, Draupadi, no, nobody can live on the earth. Krishna has got committed so far as values of protection, the respect of see women, isn't it?
Yeah, very beautifully put it. Uh, Most of the times, and I would speak mostly about the Hindus coming from India. They're different than Hindus from Fiji and other places, Indonesia, Bali, Cambodia. There are Hindus everywhere in
Mm.
the world.
Yeah.
There is a misconception. So we take the outline of the story, oversimplify it, and then comment on it based on the current social or political means. And we consider it as great spiritual activity, where what happens is the essence of the story is lost. Like, for example, victory of good over evil, minimizing the entire Ramayana as victory of good over evil. But the beauty is Ramayana is in the internal conversations. Like, for example, Ram speaking with Sugriva, Ram speaking with Hanuman, or Sita speaking with Lakshman. Beautiful long conversations over there. And the details of personalities are revealed, details of heart is revealed. Like, for example, just saying Draupadi Chirhan, for people who do not understand, there was a gambling match and there was uh, a misconduct was done against Draupadi. I would just stop over there. but the conversation that followed after that, huge number of Vyasadev, first of all, for viewers who do not know, Ganesh wrote Mahabharata. He was the scribe of Mahabharata. And he's the scribe of Bhagavad Gita also then, because he wrote it.
Yes.
So so the uh, that conversation gives you morality, gives you logical reasoning, builds your personality. A simple conversation between Kunti and Pandu, very beautiful
Mhm.
conversation. Now, this is where in these conversations is hidden the what humanity should do. They are not telling you what to do, but they're seeing these two great. Then sometimes what happens? Muneya sadhu prishto ham bhavadbhir mo lokamangalam yat kita Krishna sampranno ye natmasu prasidati. So when the conversation happens with two knowledgeable people, then it is very easy to learn for a third person, because sometimes the third person may not be at the same level of research with those two gyanis have done. So, but people miss out on those essential conversations or don't focus on them. So, and there is a big conspiracy, like you mentioned in the earlier conspiracy, to undermine the Vedic literature or the Vedic histories. Now, those conspirators who generate mythology, their commentary is added as a viewpoint, and then people start commenting on it. So it becomes the Quora, the Wikipedia. Most of these are incorrect descriptions. You cannot learn about these great literatures by somebody who is just commenting it from the point of view of social recognition. Now, now when you miss these conversations out, the entire scripture gets lost. It gets minimized. It's like Ram killed Ravan to get back his wife. Now, this is a true story, but the essence is like if you want to really understand what happened, why happened, what was the preparation, what was the travel path, that's where you start learning. Now, when we speak about our universities, because it was British had banned it because they thought that it will strengthen people to revolt against them. They banned Mahabharata, they banned Kalaripayattu, many other things they banned in India. Same thing they did with Native Americans also in the northeastern states, in the 13 states. They banned all the local customs of the earlier settlers in Britain when the British invaded here. So, without focusing on those essential conversations, people coming jumping to conclusions about Mahabharat being oversimplifying Mahabharat. What is the fault? This is a big fault according to me. But what do you think about it, sir?
No, actually, I'll just connect this particular statement with earlier questions. Had these our Mahabharata and Ramayana been a constituent part of our regular studies, then things could have been, you see, studied carefully by the scholars, by you see our students as well as teachers and others, because they were not at all the parts of our course curriculum. They were being studied, you see, other than you see course curriculum. Course curricula was the physics, chemistry, mathematics, or economics, political science, sociology, and that too, see, written by see mainly Britishers or researched by the this European and you see, Americans. They still constitute the major part of our course curricula in India. And I am also fighting, you see, against that. You teach them, but also if you are having indigenous knowledge pool for everything, you are having indigenous knowledge pool. That should provide base for your course curriculum. Because when you are just including things in a course curriculum, then you see students also read carefully and teachers also prepare carefully and teach carefully. Then only whatever is was just mentioning that conversations between the two. And the conversation is Upanishad. Our entire is Upanishad parampara is conversation only. This Srimad Bhagavata is conversation between Arjuna and you see Lord Krishna. Ramcharit Manas also is all conversation. All Upanishads are you see conversation between the As a Shishya, the pupil is asking question and Guru is answering. And from answering only everything is being. You see this Kunti or you see Pandava Samvad or you see Samvad between Draupadi and Lord Krishna or you see Samvad between Ram and Bali, Ram and you see Vibhishana or you see Ram and Bharat and you see Hanuman. These conversations are really treasure of knowledge. They must be see opened. They should be opened, revealed for see public the studies, and then only real essence, the power of these scriptures, Ramayana and Bharat, will be understood. And so far researchers are concerned, they can take only one thing. There are two types of persons. You see, everywhere you will find that whatever suits to them, they will take that particular shloka. I was just going that is a Purush Sukt of Veda, Rig Veda, where you see Varnasham Vyavastha you see, originates. In one shloka, you see that Vishnu says that Brahmana has originated from my mouth and Kshatriyas from my arms, and you see from thighs, you see Vaishyas, and from foot Shudras. In the next shloka, he again says that from you see from my legs the entire earth has originated. Next shloka, the next shloka is not you see attracting our you see, friends who wants to say fragment the society on this one vyavastha. Because it's a complete part, na different parts of complete body that cannot be disaggregated. No part of body has got its own see, independent see, place as such. That should be properly you see, taught in the classroom. So you are very correct to see if these things are becoming properly integrated in main curriculum. Researchers can take you see one part, maybe you see defense research organization, they can take one part of the story, but the more important part, how to make this world more integrated one, that is more important. From man to man, from man to family, from man to society, man to country, country to country, world with the nature, nature with the universe, isn't it? These are the that message must come from these studies. Yes, Aditya.
So many Western scholars and academics make a huge mistake by picking up conversations, and even though they may not be belonging to the tradition, so it's important these knowledge, there's a tradition is plays a very important role in disseminating these knowledge. A person who has never followed this culture in their own life, it is impossible for them to actually teach others. Abhyasena tu kaunteya yogena.
Yeah,
It's like without abhyas, without constant practice, you cannot, in a regular university, unless you are a PhD, you don't become a professor. Generally, in any university, that's the international norm. But when it comes to Mahabharat Ramayana, it's a different type of research. Somebody may not have university degree, but he may be belonging to a tradition. So tradition means that he has learned from thousands of teachers before him, and that knowledge is coming down. Shruti is coming down from the past, and Smriti also to large extent coming down. But when you have a simply academic oriented person who is doing everything for salary because he has to produce a paper, and
yeah,
when that
yeah,
culture
yeah,
comes in, the tradition gets neglected. And when you have such kind of professors, I'm purely talking from the Western professors point of view, that there is a such big lacking of information, minimizing it or Christianizing it, the teachings of Abrahamizing it, the teachings of Mahabharata and Ramayana. They have no authority to comment on it many times because they themselves don't follow it. They don't believe in it. They don't believe that Krishna and Ram were real personalities, historical personalities. So the twisting and also trying to fit the Mahabharata teachings in a commonly acceptable, they call it synchronity between all the histories and the dates and everything. Now the entire essence is lost. Now, and another thing is, when you bring that kind of mindset within India, which is the land of these cultures, now the Atmanirbharta, which politicians in India are talking about in a big way, that is totally out of the window, because the Atmanirbharta first begins in the mind. When American invents
Yes.
something, it's a totally different thing. They call it exceptional America. We are Americans are taught to believe in the exceptionalism of Americans, which is very true. It is the most innovative country in the whole planet today. But if you look at just 300 years back, India was that position with 24% of the world trade, and they were the most exceptional country in the world. At that time, there was no Western philosophy. Oh, there was only
Yes.
Indian philosophy. Now,
Yeah.
if you want to bring back that kind of mindset and the economic strength, because we all know dhan comes from dharma, earth comes from dharma, and then from earth then comes calm, which is just a calm is like spending.
Yes.
You
It is
just
that.
debiting. But the repository again comes from dharma to dhan to calm. So the Western society is just engaged in calm, because in the past, whosoever was there invented everything for them. World War I, World War II, and all those things, and they're still enjoying the benefits of all those things. But for Indians to become the original innovators, they have to go back to where they started. What made their country the number one country in the planet? It was nothing but this culture of Mahabharata and Ramayana. So this minimization has to stop in India, in terms of they have to start going into more detail. So what is your viewpoint on this? Because Atmanirbharta is not possible without independence of mind and the thought process.
Actually, Aditya, Atmanirbharta means that you should just rely on your Atma, on your soul. Not only mind, you'll have to connect everything with your soul. If you are Atma Nirbharta, then everything will be entirely different than only relying on this mundane or see worldly affairs. You may be self-reliant so far as food items are concerned, or clothing items are concerned, or even war commodities are concerned. But it's not Atmanirbharta that may perish one day or the other. But we are having that is the reliance on your own soul, your own ideas, your own mindset, your attitude, your own scriptures, the past, your own knowledge, indigenous knowledge system, your indigenous skills, your traditional systems, your own structure and culture, and that is existing today also. I'm just taking India. It is not merely which is unreal. We are having two societies today in India. One which she lives in 20 cities and 10 topmost metropolis in India. Another is India, which lives in about 6.5 lakh villages and about 700 districts. You will find their structure is entirely different. Their structure and culture is so interconnected with each other. They are family oriented. They distribute things. They first feed others before taking food. They are obedient. They are disciplined. They are cultured. They are protecting environment. They worship land and everything they are doing, which is good, isn't it? So it's not merely you go deeper down to study your scriptures. Go and see the behavior of your common people in villages and collect those things and make a part of curriculum, isn't it? What is happening? India was under British rule, so the Britishers have superiorities over scientific invention and knowledges, and they had so many Sanskrit scholars under the behest of Father Kamil Bulke. They Trans Max Muller and Father Kamil Bulke like that. and they translated our, you see, scriptures. So people are not going in India and outside. They are not, you see, going to read originals. They are just studying byproducts of these, you see, books, and they are referring to them, justifying whatever, say, they are, say, thinking in their mind. So one part which is the Western part, which is more worldly oriented, they want to justify those things. As I told you that I am a Ahmedabad, that is management. Management for the benefit of corporate world must not be used this Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita cannot be used for the profit orientation for this corporate world. If you are using that Srimad Bhagavad Gita and it is there is shloka, I think you are doing injustice to our, see, scriptures. So what I mean to say that number one, you cannot remain disconnected with the present. The contemporary world shall have to be taken into consideration, and then from you'll have to just relate the things with your traditions, with your, see, spiritual knowledge systems, with your indigenous knowledge system, and some role models which have just shown them in, you see, a real life. It is not, you see, fiction. It is not mythology in your, you see, words. It is Sattology. Then only things will be properly understood, isn't it? If you are just living the contemporary world, then also things would be, you see, attractive. So Ramayana and Mahabharata, the role of is Rama and Krishna, that is, you see, useful today. That is quite relevant today. And some person like Mahatma Gandhi has used these ideals, both Rama and Krishna, both. He is talking about Ramarajya and writing on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Gita Ma. So both he has used to see that how these Britishers can be ousted from East India by using these two granthas. No?
Yeah, you put a very important information out, that the the most of the times the Indians have been programmed to reject the Indian authors, Indian thought process leaders, whereas the Western world has followed the Indian thought leaders. Like just an example of Sadhguru, very famous person from India,
Mhm.
Mata Amritanandmai, and these are the current leaders, Chichi Ravi Shankar. They have a huge following in North America. I know in Los Angeles right now, Sadhguru was there in motorbike all over the country, and a huge following, huge following. So the Western general populace is trying to follow the Indian spiritual leaders, and Indian elite is following the Western thought leaders. Now it's a big contrast, and so I think this definitely needs to be answered by people. And for viewers who are watching it, some of you are laughing and some of you are enjoying the conversation. That is the fact of the matter. And so, what a wonderful conversation, Professor Adian Bajpai. And for viewers, you must have gotten
Yeah.
some hint.
Actually, Aditya, it is the deficiency to be filled in. Westerns are deficient so far as spirituality is concerned. So they are after Sadgurus, Ma Amrita Nandamayi, Shishi Ravi Shankar, or Rajneesha, or Maharshi Mahesh Yogi.
Maheshwari.
That is the, they are the bigger following as such. It's different. Yesterday I was speaking on Rajneesha. So they had bigger following because they are lacking, they are deficient in those spiritual, you see, things. That's why they are. And Indians are deficient in, you see, Western mundane things, worldly things. That's why they are after, see, Western models. That's the answer I can give like that. It
Uh,
is filling the gaps,
uh,
just filling the gaps.
There's a
No?
very good analogy put by one scholar, Prabhupada, had put a logic
Yeah.
of a
Mm,
blind man and a lame man. So they
mm,
said that
yeah.
India is the lame man and West is a blind man. So if the blind man sits on top of the, or lame man sits on the top of the blind man, then they can both each help each other, and
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
find the right path. But
Hmm.
thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. And viewers, if you have any questions or comments, you can ask us on the YouTube also. Whatever questions you had, I already asked Professor Bajpai, and keep watching, and we'll have Professor Bajpai come for another interesting topic in continuation of the same discussion. There are a lot to talk about. There's a lot of things to talk about. So, namaskar and thank you very much, Professor
Okay,
Bajpai.
thank you, Aditya. Namaskar. Vande Mataram.